The untold story of Apostle Philip, the shocking truth behind the Holy Spirit's desert encounter. Few knew what truly happened that night in the desolate desert. As the sun dipped below the horizon, shadows whispered secrets among the dunes, and the air hung heavy with anticipation. The moon rose high, casting an ethereal glow over Philip, the loyal disciple now caught in a divine crossroad. Philip had always felt the presence of the Holy Spirit, but that night was different. There was a crackle in the air, a powerful energy swirling like a storm ready to unleash fury. He had heard tales of the Spirit's manifestation, spontaneous tongues of fire, voices echoing in the silence, but nothing could prepare him for what lay ahead. A figure appeared in the distance, luminous, shrouded in presence and purpose. It beckoned him, a silent call that pierced his heart. The landscape was stark yet breathtakingly beautiful, the sandy terrain illuminated by starlight. This was no ordinary moment. This was a divine setup, a turning point in the desert of his faith and obedience. Yet, doubt crept into his mind. Why him? What choices had led him to stand before such mystery? Tension coiled within him. Fear and excitement intertwined, tightening like a noose. He remembered the stories of Exodus, where the Israelites wandered for years, searching for the promised land. Their struggles mirrored his own search for purpose in the vastness of this spiritual wilderness. Could he, too, encounter a miracle? In that moment, lunging forward seemed both an act of courage and desperation. Should he step toward the glow or flee into the night? A sudden gust of wind swept through the desert, raising the sands around him, forcing him to shield his eyes. The figure began to speak, its voice a blend of thunder and whisper, full of promise yet shrouded in mystery. Philip, it urged, trust in the unseen. Each word resonated with truth yet left him trembling, as though the weight of divine expectation rested on his shoulders. As he stood frozen in that singular moment, a question loomed: would he embrace the calling and uncover the shocking truth of the Spirit's purpose, or would this be yet another chance missed in the divine design? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash the like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The air around Philip crackled with unspoken potential, every grain of sand swirling with the weight of history and the promise of what lay ahead. As he wrestled with the decision to step forward or retreat, memories flooded his mind, his days with Jesus, the teachings, the miracles, and the deep connections formed within their small circle. Each moment echoed a truth he could no longer ignore. He was part of something greater, a narrative woven by threads of faith and divine purpose. Philip, the luminous figure, continued, its essence straddling the line between familiar and otherworldly. The voice held a gravity that pulled him closer, even as uncertainty gripped his heart. There is much for you to see, much for you to understand. Will you heed the call? His thoughts danced between fear and longing. What path could unveil itself among the shadows? What revelations awaited him in the depths of the Spirit's wisdom? Yet, the question remained, why had he been chosen for this encounter? As he considered the weight of the calling, he could not escape the feeling of inadequacy that had always shadowed him. How could a mere fisherman, once a simple man of the Sea of Galilee, stand before the divine? In the stillness of the night, he felt the pulse of uncertainty coursing through him. It was as if the very essence of the desert was alive, whispering to him stories of ancient prophets who had wandered similar paths: Moses, Elijah, even his beloved Rabbi. They had faced their trials, yet they emerged transformed, emboldened by a vision that extended far beyond their earthly existence. With each heartbeat, his resolve began to solidify. A soft breeze seemed to beckon him, whispering secrets of the unseen realm, where faith danced freely and hope ignited like a flame. Could this moment be his own transformation, a convergence of past struggles and future strength? What if, in stepping toward the figure, he could unlock the mysteries of his own spirit and embrace the true essence of his calling? Summoning every ounce of courage, Philip took a step forward, the moonlight bathing him in harbingers of clarity. As he moved into the luminous presence, the figure reached out a hand, inviting him into its warmth and wisdom. Suddenly, he felt a surge of energy coursing through him, an infilling spirit that whispered promises of knowledge yet to come. "Fear not," the figure intoned gently, as if sensing the turbulence within. "Embrace the sacred truth that lies before you. Your journey is not solitary, the Spirit will guide you, even when the way is obscured." For to walk in faith requires stepping into the unknown, a path laden with wonder and shadows alike. Renewed determination fluttered within Philip's heart, but lingering questions loomed above him like specters. What would he ultimately uncover on this journey? Would he be equipped to face the challenges ahead and articulate truths powerful enough to inspire others? In that moment, he realized that with great calling came immeasurable responsibility. Could he shoulder it? As the figure faded back into the shimmering veil of the night, leaving behind a pulse of energy that thrummed with possibility, Philip stood on the threshold of revelation. He could feel the heartbeat of the Spirit aligning with his own, intertwining lives and destinies. Yet, as he gazed into the vastness of the desert that stretched before him, contemplation lingered. Could he truly abandon his fears and misgivings to pursue this calling without reservation? And perhaps more importantly, what new truths would emerge from the depths of this entrancing midnight encounter, and at what cost? The night sky enveloped Philip in a tapestry of stars, each glittering point a reminder of the mysteries that lay beyond human understanding. He lingered for a moment, breathless from the energy swirling around him, yet grounded by the reality that the path ahead was uncharted. The voices of the past echoed in his mind, propelling him toward the unknown while tethering him to the familiar comforts of his old life. In the depths of his heart, questions rattled like a tempest. What truths awaited him in the shadowy folds of the Spirit's wisdom? Would this divine encounter reveal his purpose, or would it unveil fears he had long wished to suppress? There was a difference between knowing the teachings of Jesus, believing in the miracles, and living out that faith in the wilderness of uncertainty. As dawn broke quietly over the horizon, hues of crimson and gold spilled across the sky, illuminating the contours of the desert landscape. In that moment of quiet majesty, Philip felt an urge pull him forward, not away from the fears that had gripped him but deeper into them. He understood that the path of faith was not marked solely by conviction but often by a willingness to grapple with doubt and the unknown. In his mind, images of his fellow disciples danced, each one with their unique calling and struggle. Would they stand beside him on this path, or would he walk this journey alone? The Spirit's gentle nudge was urging him to reflect on their shared bonds, the collective sacrifices for the belief they had chosen. Could he carry that mantle alone? Wandering deeper into the sense of longing, Philip recalled the times when Jesus had shared parable stories that transcended the mere surface to reveal deeper meanings. Each parable had held layers of truth that were unveiled with prayerful consideration. Could he, too, share such stories in a way that would resonate with others? The thought invigorated him, yet the weight of expectation became heavy on his shoulders. He knelt upon the soft sand, his hands sinking into its warmth, as he closed his eyes and breathed deeply of the spirit of the morning. In prayer, he surrendered the uncertainties that clouded his mind. "Show me, O Spirit," he whispered, "what is to be my purpose? What is it that I must learn in this time of trial?" A gentle wind stirred around him, and in that moment, Philip felt a kinship with the desert itself, a land of harsh trials that still bore fruit in unexpected ways. If the Spirit was guiding him, then perhaps his journey would be much like the landscape, strewn with obstacles yet alive with potential. As he stood again, renewed with purpose, the sound of distant footsteps broke through the silence, a reminder that he was not alone. Curious, he peered into the distance and saw a figure emerging from the haze, unfamiliar, yet exuding an aura of wisdom and understanding. Sensing a convergence of destiny, Philip hesitated on the brink of yet another encounter. Would this stranger hold answers to his questions, or perhaps insights that could clarify the shadows lurking in his foray into deeper faith? The struggle to discern the intentions of this new figure ignited his curiosity, leading him to ponder what bonds might be forged from this encounter, and would it set the course for Philip's journey, or would it merely present another layer of mystery on the path laid before him? As the figure drew nearer, Philip felt a mixture of anticipation and apprehension. The desert's vastness suddenly felt smaller, as if the land itself held its breath, anticipating the unfolding of a sacred moment. He wiped his brow, catching a glimpse of the stranger's attire, simple yet flowing, mingling with the delicate hues of dawn, as if he were part of the landscape. Who could this be, this man wandering in the desolate expanse? Upon closer inspection, Philip's heart quickened as he discerned the man's features. His countenance radiated kindness, crowned by a sun-kissed beard that hinted at a life spent under open skies. In the stranger's gaze, Philip felt an unspoken understanding, as though they shared a silent connection that transcended words. "Peace be upon you, seeker of truth," the stranger spoke, his voice a soothing balm in the quiet morning. "I sensed your restlessness among the sands and came to walk alongside you for a while." Philip took a deep breath, striving to steady his thoughts, grappling with the gravity of the moment. "And who are you to know of my unrest?" he asked, cautiously probing. "How do you come to wander in this solitude?" The man smiled gently, the light of dawn reflecting in his eyes. "I am but a traveler, much like you. In the wilderness, we learn much from the ruggedness around us, and sometimes, from the hearts we encounter. The Spirit draws us together in mystery for a purpose yet revealed." Philip's curiosity engulfed him, igniting the spark of his own myriad questions. Here stood a figure whose presence seemed to bridge the gap between his fears and the unknown. "What would the Spirit have me learn today?" he asked earnestly, yearning for insight. "The Spirit speaks in whispers, Philip," the traveler replied, searching the horizon as if scanning for something beyond that which was visible. "What you seek often lies not in the answers you anticipate, but in understanding the questions you're afraid to ask. To know your purpose, you must first embrace the uncertainty. Only then can the layers of your spirit be revealed." Philip pondered these words, feeling their weight settle into his bones. He had spent so long contemplating the assurance he craved, yet here was a call to lean into his discomfort. Could acceptance of his uncertainty unveil the truths he sought? "Tell me, traveler," Philip inquired, his voice barely above a whisper, "how does one begin to embrace uncertainty? How do I step boldly into the unknown without fear?" The traveler gestured toward the swaying grass and the mountains in the distance, where the sun kissed their peaks in golden splendor. Nature herself surrenders to the elements, yet remains steadfast in purpose. Each seed in the ground must break apart before it can rise anew. So too, must you shed the layers of your fear to bloom. Moved by the imagery, Philip felt the pulse of life within the very soil beneath him. Is it so simple, then? To let go and allow myself to be shaped by the journey? The traveler smiled again, a knowing look in his eyes. There is beauty in simplicity, yet it is rarely as easy as it appears. It requires courage to face the shadows, to risk the comfort of what you already know. The Spirit will guide you through the trials, if only you choose to follow. Grasping these thoughts, Philip felt the first stirrings of something profound within him. It was as if the echoes of his fears began to blend with the rhythms of hope, striking a delicate balance that urged him onward. As their conversation continued, the sun climbed higher, bathing the desert in warmth. They spoke of love, doubt, and what it meant to truly encounter God in the wilderness. Yet beneath their words lay more questions than answers, questions that stirred deep within Philip's soul. In the stillness that fell between them, Philip began to understand that perhaps the greatest truths lie not in the certainty of knowing but in the mysteries of wonder. And so he turned to the stranger once more. "Aren't we shaped by the very encounters we seek to understand?" he mused, feeling a pull toward deeper reflection. How can we know if the encounters we face are indeed divine or simply random wanderers in our lives? The traveler smiled enigmatically. "Ah, young seeker. Perhaps therein lies the greatest gift of all, the invitation to explore what remains yet uncharted, to ponder where faith truly begins, and to question how it shapes the heart. Are you ready, then, to take that first step?" As the sun continued its ascent, casting long shadows across the desert expanse, Philip felt a newfound sense of determination mixed with apprehension. The traveler stood before him, an embodiment of wisdom and mystery, as if he had stepped directly from the pages of prophecy. Every word fell like seeds in the fertile ground of Philip's heart, and he felt the stirring of something deep within, a longing not just for answers, but for a transformation. "Who are you truly?" Philip asked, the question spiraling out of him with urgency. "You speak of the Spirit, yet I sense there is more to you than a mere traveler." The man's gaze softened, and for a moment, he seemed to blend seamlessly into the landscape around them. He took a breath that felt like the desert wind, carrying with it the weight of ages. "I am a reflection of your own journey," he replied with humility. "An echo of the divine call that tugs at the heart of all who seek. You will find that the Spirit shall reveal itself in many forms, perhaps even through your own discoveries." Philip's brow furrowed as he wrestled with his confusion. "But what do you mean? Am I to look within myself for answers? How can I trust what I find there? The stranger stepped closer, his presence solid and grounding amidst the turmoil that swirled within Philip. Trust is a seed that flourishes in the soil of faith. Each encounter you have, each turn you take, nurtures that seed. You must dig deep and explore the very roots of your spirit, facing your doubts and your fears as companions. The spirit is a guide, but your heart must be open to the journey ahead. Gazing out over the undulating sands, Philip pondered the enormity of this. Could he truly find the answers within? The thought both exhilarated and terrified him. And what if I fail? What if my search leads me astray? He asked, vulnerability creeping into his voice. The traveler smiled gently, as if Philip had voiced a common fear. False starts are part of the path. Fear is but a shadow, a reminder that growth often lies just beyond its reach. Every step you take is a thread woven into the tapestry of your life, each mistake a lesson that shapes your soul. You are never truly lost, for the Spirit walks with you, even in your most desolate moments. Philip took a deep breath, absorbing the weight of his words as the wind began to shift, swirling grains of sand around their feet. He could almost hear the whispers of creation, the sigh of the universe urging him forward. Then how do I recognize the Spirit's presence within me? Are there signs that guide me? The stranger's eyes gleamed with an understanding that transcended mere explanation. The signs are subtle, often hidden in plain sight. They may come as a gentle nudge in your heart, a sense of peace amid chaos, or an undeniable connection with another. You must remain vigilant, open to the synchronicities of your life, for they may lead you to profound truths. Connections, you say? Philip recalled the countless moments he had spent sharing stories with others, the laughter of children and the wisdom of elders, the warmth of companionship he had experienced. Perhaps those, too, were manifestations of the Spirit at work. Indeed, the traveler affirmed, encouraging the budding realization. Every heart you encounter, every spirit that intersects with your own is a potential revelation. They are mirrors reflecting your deeper self, guiding you in ways that are often unseen. The weight of this understanding settled deeply within Philip. It was a challenging invitation to engage not only with himself but to recognize the divine in others. But before he could voice this new thought, the desert breeze changed, carrying with it a shift in energy that made his skin prickle. Suddenly, the sky darkened, clouds rolling in as if summoned by the gravity of their conversation. The wind howled now, swirling around them, dislodging grains of sand that danced wildly against the growing tempest. Philip's heart raced, a sense of urgency building as the landscape transformed before him. What is happening? He exclaimed, fear creeping back into his heart as the traveler looked up, unperturbed, his expression calm. This is the Spirit's response to your inquiry, a reminder to remain steadfast in faith amid uncertainty, he said, his voice steady against the raging wind. You must stand firm, for within chaos lie opportunities for growth. Embrace the tempest, Philip. Let it guide you toward clarity amid confusion. As the storm raged, Philip felt the weight of the moment pressing down on him. The traveler's words resonated deeply, nourishing his resolve while stirring a tempest of thoughts and emotions inside him. Was this storm a sign, or merely a natural occurrence? Would it shape him or shatter him? And as those questions echoed in his soul, he could not help but wonder, in the face of the storm, what would resilience truly look like? Would he find strength in the chaos, or would he be left lost in the winds of doubt? As the winds howled around him, Philip struggled to maintain his footing, the sand stinging his skin like 1,000 tiny whispers urging him to flee. The traveler remained in unwavering presence beside him, his calmness a stark contrast to the violent torrent brewing in the skies above. Focus, Philip, the traveler's voice cut through the chaos, a beacon grounding him amid the swirling storm. Close your eyes and listen to the rhythm of the world around you. In the tempest, there is a lesson waiting to be revealed. With a deep breath, Philip did as instructed. He closed his eyes, blocking out the frantic dance of the desert winds and the eerie rattling of distant thunder. At first, dissonance filled his mind, thoughts of fear and doubt clashing like cymbals in an orchestra gone mad. Yet, as he dedicated himself to the exercise, the cacophony began to fade, giving way to a softer, deeper sound. He could hear the heartbeat of the earth, a sacred pulse that seemed to resonate with the unease in his own chest. Every beat connected him to something greater than himself. In that moment, he felt the presence of the Spirit all around him, wrapping around him like a cloak, as if whispering secrets that echoed from the very core of creation. People of the desert had long spoken of this connection, the way the spirit of the land intertwined with their lives, reminding them that they were never alone. Memories of their words floated to the surface of his consciousness, stories woven into the fabric of his being, the tests of faith, the moments of clarity, and the transformation that followed adversity. He recognized that the storm was not merely chaos, it was a force shaping him, creating a path that was uniquely his. As these thoughts settled, Philip opened his eyes again, now seeing the chaotic whirlwind with a renewed sense of clarity. The fury of the storm began to subside as if answering the call of his heart's understanding. The traveler beside him remained unchanged, a steadfast lighthouse in the midst of the storm's retreat. "Tell me," Philip implored, his voice steadier as the winds decreased their grip. "Is the Spirit always present during our trials, or do we only feel it when the tempest rages?" The traveler smiled, his eyes glimmering like stars emerging after a storm. "The Spirit is ever present, Philip. It is in the stillness of the heart, in the laughter shared, and in the tears shed during times of sorrow. Yet it often takes moments of turbulence to awaken our awareness, to lead us to the depths of our own spirit. In adversity, our vulnerability shines light on truths otherwise obscured by comfort. But is it not easier to connect when the times are calm and peaceful?" Philip observed, still wrestling with a growing understanding. "Why must we endure the struggle to feel the touch of the divine?" The traveler gestured to the sky, now clearing to reveal a vibrant azure backdrop, the warmth returning to the desert sands. "Calm may provide solace, but it often allows complacency to set in. The struggle acts as a catalyst, igniting the transformative process within you. It invites you to search for meaning and connection, to engage with faith incarnate. It brings forth the depth of your soul which may have lain dormant." Philip pondered this deeply, realizing his entire life had been a struggle, one marked by doubt and yearning, calling out for something more. Each trial had shaped him, challenged him, honed his spirit toward the light of understanding. Perhaps, indeed, the struggles he feared were the very steps leading him toward his destiny. The traveler observed him knowingly and continued, "You will find that every storm leaves behind remnants of beauty. Look closely, for even scattered debris can birth new growth. In time, you will discover your truest self among the ruins and the rebirth inherent in loss." The winds had nearly disappeared, transforming into a gentle breeze that caressed his skin and lifted his spirit. For the first time, Philip understood the storm was not an enemy but a teacher, a catalyst for metamorphosis. Yet, even with this new revelation, a question still lingered in the stillness. Could he embrace the tumult of life without succumbing to despair? Would he have the courage to seek beauty in the aftermath of trials, to align his spirit with the sacred path laid before him? The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the once tumultuous terrain. Philip stood still, absorbing the peace that followed the storm. His heart, once heavy with doubts and fears, now pulsed in rhythm with the renewed landscape, alive and teeming with potential. The traveler, a figure shrouded in mystery yet radiant in presence, turned to Philip, beckoning him to follow. "Come," he said, "there is more to discover beyond the remnants of the storm." Together they walked, the sand shifting gently beneath their feet. Philip felt as if he were traversing a new world, every grain a testament to the trials endured and the lessons learned. As they moved deeper into the desert, the contours of the land began to shift, turning from rugged and barren into lush pockets of leafy, a sudden oasis that defied the harshness surrounding it. Here, the traveler gestured as they approached a tranquil pool reflecting the cerulean sky. "Look into the water." Philip knelt at the edge, captivated by his own reflection mingled with the beauty of the world around him. Yet, as he gazed deeper, he saw not merely himself but a tapestry of divine encounters. Images flashed before him, the weary travelers who had come for solace, the spirits lifted through acts of kindness, the miracles woven into the fabric of his history. Each memory filled him with warmth, igniting whispers of connection that lingered in the depths of his heart. "What does this mean? All these faces, all these moments," Philip murmured, still entranced by the scenes unfolding in the water. "It is the unseen web of the spirit," the traveler replied gently. "Every life you touch becomes a part of your own, and vice versa. In struggling through your trials, you may have offered a glimmer of hope to those occupying your path. The Spirit works through you when you allow it, and it wishes to remind you that you are a conduit of divine love." Philip straightened, the impact of these words washing over him. So, my own suffering, it serves a higher purpose. The traveler nodded, his expression one of encouragement. Yes, and it is through your journey that others can find their way. Consider this: if you choose to turn away from your struggles, you risk cutting yourself off from that greater tapestry. Each thread, woven from pain and joy alike, contributes to the beauty of divine creation. You are part of a sacred story. Overwhelmed by the enormity of this realization, Philip felt both fear and exhilaration. In the vast solitude of the desert, he recognized his loneliness had masked a shared experience that connected him to a multitude of souls. But how can I embrace the pain and still show others the light? He asked, grappling with the weight of responsibility that came with this newfound awareness. Embrace it as part of your humanity, the traveler advised firmly. The Spirit does not demand that you be perfect, it calls upon you to be present, fully alive in the complexities of existence. Your authenticity, in its rawest form, will inspire courage in others. With each of these revelations, Philip felt the burden of his past beginning to lift, replaced by a burgeoning sense of purpose. Yet, as the sun dipped lower still, casting radiant hues of orange and pink across the horizon, a thought struck him. Is it possible, he ventured to ask, his voice trembling with sincerity, that if we are all part of this divine tapestry, we will confront the struggle in our own lives again and again? Will my understanding of these truths be tested endlessly until I finally learn to walk harmoniously with the Spirit? The traveler smiled gently, the depth of his understanding shining through. Life is an ongoing journey, Philip, a cycle of learning and growth that ebbs and flows like the tides. The Spirit is there through it all, waiting to guide you back each time the storm rolls in. Remember, even in the face of trials, the essence of connection remains, binding you to the world and to every heart that beats in rhythm with yours. As the last glimmers of daylight faded, Philip remained kneeling by the water's edge, lost in reflection. A fresh wave of uncertainty washed over him, mingling with hope. If every struggle had the potential to weave him closer to others, how would he face the next tempest? Would he have the insight to seek the beauty in disarray, or find himself lost amid the chaos once more? As night quietly enveloped the desert, the stars began to emerge like whispers of light in the vast darkness. The tranquil pool became a mirror for the celestial bodies, each one a hint of the mysteries that dwelled beyond mortal understanding. Philip remained at the water's edge, lost in a dance of reflections, both his own and those of the heavens, a reminder that he was not alone. The traveler had stepped back, allowing silence to reign for a moment, as if the stillness itself held answers to the unspoken questions still crafting themselves in Philip's heart. The stars blinked in an ancient rhythm, their constellations telling stories of faith, struggle, and resilience. Is it in these stars that I will find my answer? Philip finally asked, his voice barely more than a breath. Do they hold the secrets to my path? The traveler turned his gaze toward the night sky, as if listening to a distant melody carried by the gentle breeze. The stars offer guidance, but the answers to your questions lie not solely in the heavens. They are also buried deep within your heart. Then, Philip pondered aloud, what do I do when the darkness feels overwhelming? When the struggle seems endless, remember, the traveler replied, his voice steady and soothing, the night is not an absence of light, but a time for it to manifest differently. In moments of trial, the light may flicker dim, but it is not extinguished. You must search for it, within and around you, until it ignites once more. Your journey will often lead you through valleys, but every valley ends at a mountaintop. Philip drew a deep breath and contemplated this imagery. Thankfulness began to weave through him, yet uncertainty lingered at the edges. So, in essence, the struggles themselves are not the destination, but a means to find the divine light. Indeed, each trial serves to illuminate different facets of your spirit. The traveler paused momentarily, allowing the weight of the words to settle. However, it is crucial to remember that your journey will intersect with others. Their trials, too, will lead them towards their own revelations. You will discover that, in sharing your darkness, you not only invite others into your light but illuminate their paths as well. As the soft breeze rustled the leaves of a palm nearby, Philip gazed into the pool again, images shifting with the ripples that danced across the surface. He thought of the friends he had lost to despair, the hearts he feared he had failed to reach. Every face reflected the weight of struggle, the silence that followed perceived failures. How, then, can I ensure my own struggles encourage others, instead of pushing them away? The traveler stepped closer, his eyes now alight with an understanding that transcended simple words. You must embrace vulnerability. In your honesty about your struggles, you create a bridge, one that communicates to others that they are not alone in their darkness. When they witness your willingness to walk through the shadows, they may find the courage to do the same. Ultimately, vulnerability fosters connection, rippling outward like the waves upon this water. Philip considered this, feeling the tension in his heart ease slightly. Could his pain and authenticity truly serve as a beacon for those who wander just as lost? Still, another fear loomed large. But what if my honesty brings more pain? What if it feels like I'm exposing my wounds into a world that is not yet ready to accept them? Pain can be a teacher, the traveler answered softly. It can reveal truths that comfort and build resilience. Sometimes it is through shared suffering that we discover the strength to endure. Like stars that burn brightly against the dark, your truth and courage may spark a light in someone else's night. As night deepened, the air turned cooler, and Philip felt a deep resonance between the traveler's words and the vibrations of the universe surrounding him. He closed his eyes and inhaled, drawing strength from the essence of the moment, yet a still unanswered question lingered in the silence. Will those I reach out to be willing to embrace my truth, or will I face rejection? How do I prepare myself for the trial of that possibility when I have just begun to find the strength to share? With this question hanging in the air, night thrummed quietly around him, filled with potential, mystery, and the unending call to listen for the voices of the Spirit guiding him onward. As the stillness of the desert night deepened, Philip remained fixated on the shimmering surface of the pool. His heart wrestled with the tension between hope and fear, illuminated by the words of the traveler. The stars overhead continued their ancient vigil, yet a deeper sense of purpose began to stir within him. Finally, the traveler, sensing Philip's inner tempest, broke the silence. The questions you pose, they arise from a place of honesty and yearning. But what if, rather than seeking certainty, you lean into the unknown? Look around you. What surrounds you in this desert is not just emptiness, it is waiting to be filled with meaning. Curiosity flickered within Philip like the stars above. What do you mean by that? He asked, shifting his focus from the pool to the traveler's steady gaze. The desert holds many secrets, just as the heart holds many emotions. In this vast emptiness, life often thrives in unexpected ways. It reminds us that even in solitude, we are interconnected with a greater purpose. Look deeper into that water. It reflects not just the sky, but the very essence of your soul. With renewed fervor, Philip peered into the pool, and the reflection transformed before him. The surface wavered, revealing glimpses not only of stars but of faces, people long past, people present. Each visage sparkled with stories and struggles, honoring the interconnectedness of their journeys. A profound spirit of compassion enveloped him, leaving him awash in wonder. Do they see me? He murmured, wrestling with both awe and fear. They do, as you see them. In every encounter, you are crafting a tapestry of shared existence. Every triumphant trial is interwoven with another's tale. Yes, there may be those who turn away, but there will also be those who find solace and strength through your authenticity. Such connections form a web of divine providence. Yet, how can I trust that my path will indeed intersect with those who can rise alongside me? Philip pressed, heart heavy with uncertainty yet aflame with hope. The traveler smiled gently, pausing to collect his thoughts as the breeze rustled the palm leaves. Trust is born from fate, as delicate as the desert flower yet as robust as the boulder it springs from. It requires a step into the unknown, a leap that can often ignite the paths of others who wait for the light to guide them. Your willingness to embrace your struggles, to shine amid your vulnerabilities, may be the very light another soul seeks. As a heartbeat in the stillness followed, Philip considered the enormity of that possibility. And what if it leads to hurt? What if my very truth exposes me to more pain than relief? Every step towards truth can reveal both shadows and stars, the traveler responded, his eyes holding a knowing glimmer. But out of the embers of pain rise the promise of renewal. When you fall, embrace the ground, for it too has wisdom to share. The spirit dwells not solely in the joy of discovery but thrives in the raw expressions of struggle and redemption. Philip nodded, acceptance mingled with doubt stirring within him. He realized that every step he took forward would not erase the uncertainty but enrich the journey itself. The desert, vast and daunting, stood before him, an expanse not only of sand but of potential to be filled, perhaps, with revelations yet unseen. He remained captivated by the images in the water, mindful of the connections waiting to be formed. If my own truths guide me to share with others, might they carry glimpses of their own struggles toward the divine? The traveler's smile radiated warmth. Exactly, Philip. Reflection begets connection. Open yourself not just to pain but to the possibility of healing. Every sharing of one's burden lightens the load, a reminder that our trials are sacred, woven into the fabric of a larger truth. As night continued its slow embrace of the desert, Philip felt a stirring of revelation and challenge within him. He still had questions left unanswered, shadows yet to explore, and paths still obscured. Will I find the words to speak of my truths, and in doing so, will I be a vessel of hope or a bearer of pain? With the stars as his silent witnesses, he resolved to continue his journey through the night, feeling the unseen heartbeat of the universe entwined with his own, calling him deeper into the unfolding story that lay ahead. As the dawn broke the stillness of the desert night, transforming the sky into a canvas of soft pastels, Philip stood at the edge of the tranquil pool, the echoes of the traveler's wisdom still pulsing through him. His heart felt like new soil, turned and rich with the promise of what might grow from it. He gazed into the water once more, where the reflections glimmered with the light of 1,000 shared stories. In that moment of quiet contemplation, a profound shift dawned within him. No longer was he just a solitary figure wandering in the vast desert of uncertainty, he understood that he was intertwined with the lives of countless others, each seeking solace and truth as he was. The realization wrapped around him like a warm embrace, whispering that his struggles did not exist in isolation but were part of a sacred tapestry. "Traveler," he began, turning to the figure beside him, his voice trembling with newfound conviction, "I see now that my journey through doubt and struggle can become a beacon for others. But how can I begin to weave those threads of connection? How do I share what I've learned without losing the essence of my truth?" The traveler's eyes shimmered with pride as he responded, "Start small. Open your heart in moments of vulnerability. In conversations, share your stories, not just the polished victories but the raw edges of your journey. Acknowledge your fears out loud, let others see not just the light but the shadows too. For it is there, in the juxtaposition of joy and sorrow, that authentic connections are forged. But what if I expose too much? What if my struggles become burdens to others?" Philip countered, the familiar twinge of fear creeping back, voices of doubt whispering in his ears. The traveler replied, "That fear comes from a place of misunderstanding. Vulnerability does not equate to weakness, rather, it invites empathy and compassion. In sharing your truth, you allow others to feel seen, heard, and accepted. It opens a door for them to share their own journeys, creating a shared space of healing. A flicker of realization ignited within Philip's heart. The threads of his past struggles, the burdens of his former fears, could transform into a guiding light for someone else navigating similar shadows. So, my journey doesn't just lead me to transformation, but it can lead others too? He mused, the weight of that possibility expanding before him like the horizon at dawn. The traveler nodded, a knowing smile softening his features. Indeed. Just as the sun rises each day to illuminate the world, your authenticity will bring warmth and clarity to those who cross your path. You are part of a sacred community, woven together by the Spirit, where each individual story contributes to the greater narrative of hope. With clarity washing over him, Philip felt an urgency to embrace this Kalinga desire to stand tall as a testament to possibility amid uncertainty. Then what must I do to prepare myself for this journey? He asked, his spirit ignited with the prospect of purposeful engagement. First, continue to cultivate your connection with the Spirit, the traveler suggested, his voice rich with encouragement. Rise each day with intention. Pray, listen, reflect, and let your heart guide you not only through your own struggles but toward the struggles of those around you. Be a light in the darkness, an oasis for those weary travelers searching for hope. In that moment, Philip felt the full weight of purpose settle on his shoulders, no longer a burden but a mantle he was ready to wear. He would embrace the fears that whispered to him, stepping boldly into the unknown while holding tightly to the connection he had forged with the Spirit and those around him. The traveler took a step back, as if sensing the completion of a sacred exchange. Your journey is just beginning, dear Philip, he said, a twinkle of anticipation in his eyes. You are now equipped to engage the world with authenticity and love. Remember, in both the valleys and the heights, the Spirit will walk with you. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, spilling golden light across the desert, Philip felt a renewed sense of destiny coursing through him. He looked out at the vast landscape, no longer a daunting wilderness but an expanse filled with possibility, each grain of sand a story yet to be told. With a heart brimming with faith and courage, he turned toward the horizon, ready to embrace whatever came next. He understood now that every trial, every struggle, could serve as a foundation for others, an invitation to share in the journey. The Spirit would lead him, guiding him through the uncertainty and toward the connections he was meant to forge. As he took his first steps into the future, every heartbeat resonated with the truth that he was not alone. He was part of a tapestry woven from faith, love, and shared experiencia, divine design stretching far beyond the limits of his understanding. In that moment of clarity, Philip held fast to the profound revelation that the real beauty of life lies in its interconnectedness. He carried within him the stories of his past and the hope of future encounters that awaited, knowing that he was destined to be both a seeker and a light for those lost in the darkness. And with that, he stepped boldly into the embrace of the world, transformed, aware that the journey was not just about personal discovery but about reaching out to others, free of fear and full of love. Here was his faith, a promise of connection and the power of transformation that echoed through the ages.